You've been waiting long enough. So a man asked me, are my properties in a limited company? So the most recent one that I bought, that's in a limited company. Yeah. So the rest of them are in my personal name. Could you tell us the advantages as well as having property in a limited company? So when you get to like when you get to like 4 or 5 properties and that, you kind of class as a portfolio landlord. I don't know if it's the 4 property mark or the 5th property mark. I'm not too sure in it, but my mortgage broker said, well, look, you're probably going to buy another property in the next year and a half, whatever. Just go, put them in a limited company. Now, I already had this limited company set up from before. There's advantages and disadvantages to having a property in a limited company and having a property in your personal name. So let's say, for example, let's say this house, this house is in my personal name. If I wanted to do a refinance, because this property has gone up in value over the last 6 years, if I wanted to pull out 30 grand, you're borrowing 30 grand, so you get 30 grand in cash, but it's still a loan, you still have to pay that back. So you get 30 grand up front. It's just seen as a loan. So once the money lands in your bank account, it doesn't get taxed. The government can't touch your money. But this same property here, whether it's a residential or a buy-to-let, it doesn't matter. If it's in a limited company, and even then, if it's in a limited company, I don't think it can be a residential. But anyway, if this property is in a limited company and it's gone up by in the next 6 years, it goes up in value, and it's in a limited company. If I borrow 30 grand, that 30 grand doesn't all go in my pocket. I have to pay tax on that. So that's one of the disadvantages to having properties in a limited company. When you borrow money, when you refinance, oh, this property's gone up by 50 grand in the last 6 years, I'm going to borrow 50 grand. You don't get to keep that full 50 grand. You don't have to pay tax on it straight away. But when your accounts are due, then you are liable for tax. But on the flip side, when you got a property in your name, even if it's a buy-to-let, so it's in my name, but it's a buy-to-let, so I've got tenants renting it out, for example. You know, like the mortgage, that's tax deductible. So let's say you generate £1,000 a month through rent, the mortgage, the tax part of it, the interest part of it, and if it's a buy-to-let, it's going to be interest only. So let's say the mortgage is £500, that's tax deductible. So instead of me having to pay tax on £1,000, I pay tax on 500 because they've removed 500 because 500 of the mortgage is tax deductible. And then potentially maybe the gas and electric bills, I'm not too sure. But those are the advantages and disadvantages of having a limited company. So when you have a buy-to-let property, when it's in your name, you can't use the mortgage interest as a tax deductible expense. That's if it's in your personal name, this buy-to-let property. But if the buy-to-let property is in your limited company, then the mortgage interest, if it's £500, because it's a buy-to-let, it's interest only, that £500 or whatever the amount is tax deductible. So there's pros and cons. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a property mogul, you're going to play Monopoly in real life, then you are going to have to go down the route of being a limited company property owner. Because all of these guys, Samuel Lees, Rob Moore, big up man like Ahmed Khan, all of these men there, they have properties. They might have 1 or 2 properties in their own name, but I promise you, the majority of their properties are going to be in a limited company. So you have to play that game. In life, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything. So don't think to yourself, right, in order for me, so if I get to the property mark number 5, I have to become a limited company, like register a limited company and that. So I'm only going to ever own 4 properties. No, own 10 properties and just be a limited company. Don't limit yourself. There's men out here that are trying to avoid being a higher taxpayer, so they make sure their wages are always under 50 grand a year. Well, with that mentality, you're never going to become a millionaire. You think fucking Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk is trying to keep their wages and their salary below 50 grand so they don't have to pay extra tax? You see that sort of mindset there, you're limiting yourself. Remember that woman that I told you a lot about at the uni? Oh, I'm making sure that I earn a salary that's under 20 grand a year forever, so I don't have to pay back the student loan. Motherfucker. So you'd rather sit and ride at 20 grand a year until you're dead rather than earn 60 grand a year so that you don't have to pay back this fucking uni loan. So dumb. That is the, I swear to God, yeah. If they had a book of cliches or a book of idioms or whatever, sayings and that, by the saying, cutting off your nose to spite your face, they should have that fucking woman's face. They should have a picture of that woman. I've never heard something so dumb in my life. You want to ride on 20 grand a year for the rest of your life so you don't have to pay back the student loan when you could get a job that's earning you 50, 60, 70 grand a year. So dumb. And these are the people who we as young people, I mean, I'm getting old now, I'm 31, but we as young people are supposed to be looking to for advice. This woman, these times I was 24, 25 when I was at uni. I think I was at 24 doing electronic engineering. Just a HNC, I ain't got a full degree. She was like 60 years old. She's near retirement and she thinks that she's winning. Blood, you're fucking losing. I'd rather be on 100 grand a year and be paying back that student loan than being on 20 grand a year and not paying back the student loan. Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Like, it must have been over a bottle of liquor or something. Yeah, some red wine or something. For you to come up with this mastermind plan to take over the universe, you think that riding on 20 grand a year for the rest of your life is a better option than earning 50, 60, 70 grand a year. Fucking stupid. So dumb. I never heard so much stupidness in my life. And these are going to be the people that have children and are going to be advising their sons and daughters. Crazy.